So August 2009, I moved back to Kansas City from Chicago, where I'd spent a year as a worship pastor at a small church there. And I've never been hurt so badly by a group of Christians in maybe my entire life. And I'd just given up on the church, given up on relationship with the Lord, decided that if he loved his church so much, he could have them. And so I was going to be on my way, on my own, just kind of doing my own thing. One of my first days back in town, some friends of mine wanted to go to this church that I'd never heard of, and it just so happened that Steve Jones was there to meet us, and it was Vineyard Church, and we started talking, developed a friendship. He took me out to coffee that following Wednesday and shared my story with him, and that friendship is what led me back to a relationship with the Lord, a relationship with the church, and I loved serving the church again. I loved the people in the church. I came to trust it and really give my life to the church again. And it's only because the Lord crossed our paths that day that I am where I am today.
A couple weeks ago, God had put it on my heart that I needed to talk to my friend Anna that I hadn't spoken with in a few years. So I added her on Facebook and saw one day that she was having a tough day. So I gave her a call, asked her if she wanted to come to church with me, and found out that she'd actually received a postcard from our church just recently.
When I got the flyer, my friend Lindsay, that I hadn't talked to in several years, called me, and she said that she was going to the Vineyard Church that evening. So her and I went to the Vineyard Church, had an awesome service. And she had asked me if I had been to the First Baptist Church. And I said no, but I would love to go. So her and I went to the First Baptist Church, met Pastor Brady there, and he actually told us that he would be switching to the Vineyard Church. So it was really quite a coincidence because her and I hadn't spoken so many years, and God led us to each other for me to get reconnected with God.
So I've come to find that a lot of the situations in my life that seemed like coincidence or seemed random have actually led to really great things. Several years ago, I got a phone call from a guy named Scott who said Midwestern Baptist Seminary is opening an undergraduate program, and he wanted me to come check that out. So I did. I ended up going to school there for 4 years. And in that time, I got another phone call from a guy named Rob who said, there's this Baptist church in town who needs a guitar player, and you should come check it out. They really need somebody. So I did that. Ended up leading worship there for a long time. And then a few years later, the same guy called me up just randomly and said, so there's this Vineyard Church, and Steve, this guy I know, goes there, and he was somebody that I had also met. He said, you should check that out. So I come to find out that all of these random phone conversations that seemed random at the time coincidentally led to me going to a seminary and getting a ridiculous amount of Bible knowledge, going to a Baptist church where I made a lot of great friends and dealt with some difficult decisions and just barely got through some of them. And then to the Vineyard Church, where at a time that I was really burnt out and just tired of everything, I found ways to serve that were their new ways to serve for me, and really made great friends and great relationships.
I'm from Germany. I've lived here many years and was raised Catholic, and I've never been to a church here I could connect with. And so I started looking and stumbled over this woman. We met, and she told me she had this vision that I needed to find a church that started with AV. So it didn't make any sense to me. I gave it a thought, but really forgot about it, but still had the need to find the church. So I had a conversation with a young coworker, and I told her, I needed to find a church, and she said, I go to Vineyard, and I had told her the story about the V, that I needed to find a church with a V. And she said, well, see Vineyard. And I said, okay, I'll give it a try. So my son and I it was an Easter service, and it was at the North Brighton campus. And we came and visited, and Fred Herron appeared on big screen, and I started to bitterly cry because I had such a connection with the people and the strong message he had at that Easter service, that we have been coming back here ever since.